Yes.
So at the moment you are in Stuttgart.
Stuttgart, Germany. Yeah.
Stuttgart. Okay.
Yeah,
And tell
yes.
me, where were you in lockdown?
So which one? You mean the German one?
The
The German
the
lockdown?
first, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was in America. So I was in America from end of October until end of January, and before and after I was in Germany. So I was for 3 months in America. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So in
Yeah.
March 2020, mm, how did how did you experience that first lockdown in March?
I must say very positively because you know, as an artist, you sometimes travel a lot, and the last few years it's been increasing, and there were many more projects coming, and sometimes you lose, how do you say, track of reality in a way because you're just in this world of music, and you travel and you play and you travel and you play, or you teach, or and the lockdown, gave us a little bit some kind of realistic drop down to humanity, to a real sense of time, also what time means, and what time for yourself means. And so I took it very positively. It was a good experience for me. I had time to rest down, not only just the body but also the mind and the feelings, reading books, and just getting through all the things I was wishing to be able to do, and I could never because you're performing, or you're on track, and or on traveling. So very positively. Mm.
So it was almost a time where you could be resting without feeling guilty of not doing something. That feeling.
Yes, exactly. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
I
Yes.
hear that a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
um, so and did you practice, or did you think it would be soon over?
Well, difficult to say. I think I was hoping it would be soon over, and it would be just a in clamor. Let's put
Mm,
just this time, it's something. But as soon as we all recognized that it was going to be part of real life for a long time, um, well, automatically behaviors change, and also activities change. So you try and find ways to, I don't know, to exist, or not only just to exist, but to just to do music in whatever way is possible to do. So um, I had some projects. I was lucky enough to have projects. I had some CD recordings going on, and because of the regulations, it was easy to do it because we were only two recording. It was a oboe piano CD, two CDs. So this was my main motto. That was my main my main idea, my main goal for those months until the summer. So I was busy doing this in a way. So it was positive. I had time to do those CDs. Mhm.
mm. And then in the summer, yeah, of course. And did you do any performances during the summer?
Yes, we did. Well, it was not live public, but it was broadcasted. There was one concert done for the German radio here in cooperation with this Greek festival I'm playing in Molivos International Festival. So we did a Zoom or like a stream concert. It worked very well. I had two recitals in Germany with public, but of course with distanciation. So this was working. And there were a couple of things with the orchestra, but that was it. Then it was done. Not so much. Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
And but how do you feel at this time now? Because this is now the third lockdown, and have you had many things that were cancelled by this time?
Yes, I mean, yeah, a lot of solo performances, for instance, also overseas in Japan, everything was cancelled. I had about 15 concerts that just dropped out. Um, the teaching is not easy because I'm also a professor in the university in Saarbrücken in the Hochschule. The Saarland is not, allowing us to go in the buildings, so all the lessons are on Zoom. And right now it's also kind of a critical point because lots of competitions are happening for the students, so we need to find some alternatives so they can record. So this is also a big issue. And from the orchestral point of view, of course, many things got cancelled. We had with Stuttgart SWR a big tour planned, also I think coming to Vienna with Curensis. This is not going to happen. And in America, the orchestra is also not playing now for a couple of weeks. So yeah, many things got cancelled. Yeah,
Mm.
unfortunately. Mm.
And the competitions, do they go ahead? Do they do recordings and then send them in? So that goes ahead. I see.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
So students have to deal. Students get to be now more sound engineers than before because they have to
Really?
deal with
Mm.
recordings and with audio, video, and all of that stuff. So of course, there are some positive things in there. This is positive that you have to try and you have to reinvent yourself in a way. Otherwise, that it's not going to work for you. And the students, especially right now, they have to do it. So it's the only way to apply for an audition or to apply for a competition. Everybody's asking for videos. So yes. Mm.
Mm. How is the mood amongst the students?
Oh, it's hard. It's obviously as professors you cannot show them that it's going. You have to give them some hope and you have to give them some energy so that they still believe in what they do, and but believing in continuing. This is the most tricky. But you can see there is there's a desperation, there is an exasperation. How do you say exasperation? I don't know if you say this in English, but there is a yeah, you can see that there's a there's an emptiness there. I have the feeling that because it's just there are no valuable solutions in an approach future. This is, I think people are losing just hope a bit, and you can see it on the students. You have the feeling that they believe 1 year of their entire life has just been stolen from them. I have the feeling this is what they feel. Yeah. Mm.
Mm. Is there this when they graduate, there's always this thing where it's auditions and they're going to start something. Do they have that feeling there as well, that's not going to happen, or is that part of the frustration, you think?
Well, it depends where you are in your studies. I suppose for those who are just starting, it's maybe a good opportunity to focus on basics and improve, because there are also some good points in this. Of course, they could postpone and add some semesters to their studies. So this is positive. But of course, for those who are getting out and who need to perform and to go out there in active life and to find themselves a way, their own way, it's more difficult because there are no auditions. I mean, the orchestras are not really auditioning people right now because it's impossible to fly in people. It's very difficult to listen to people live, and because everything is changing every 2 weeks, it makes it so unpredictable to plan something for them. So yes, right now it's difficult because at the beginning it was something new and we knew we had to go through it. So I think people were really accepting it. Right now it's a bit like we're doing machen Bilanz so on, and we see
Mm,
that it's been already 1 year, and I think this is heavy. It's einfach schwer. It's very heavy and
mm,
it's consuming energy, I think, a lot. Yeah, for
mm,
sure.
yeah. Tell me, how did you start in music? What age were you when you first started?
I was 5 years old.
Okay.
I was 5 years old, and I started in the conservatoire of my hometown in Mulhouse, so not so far from here in Alsace. And I did 1 year of what we call initiation musicale, which is basically a musical initiation where you
Mm,
get to you get to sing, you get to dance, you get to everything what's in contact with music, but not directly through an instrument. It's the first year, and then the second year onwards, you choose an instrument, and from there you start your musical studies with one main instrument and with the other things on the side. Mm.
And you chose the oboe.
At first, I chose the flute because I loved the
Oh,
flute.
mhm.
It didn't work so well. I could not really, I didn't have fun so much with this instrument at the end. So I decided to change, and I went for the oboe. Yeah, because I didn't know so much about the oboe, but the professor was very nice. He was kind. He was funny. So I went for that. You know, as a kid, you need an entertainer as a professor sometimes also.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you come from a musical family?
Not at all. My father was a dentist, and my mom, she was an English professor.
Oh, okay. But how did you
Mhm.
end up in the music school then? What was the motivation?
I think my mom was really keen on putting us into music because she grew up in England, and in England, the system is not so easy to get into music. It's not so common to, you know, it's quite difficult to. There are not such structures as, you know, small music schools to be able to, you know, it's more you get to go do music in college and not on a so high level, and then suddenly you have to enter those, you know, big academies in London like Guildhall or like the Royal Academy. And my mom never had the chance to do it, and she loved music, so I think she wanted to fulfill this wish with her kids. So this is why she put us in the music school in France as soon as she saw that there were good infrastructures for it.
Mm. So your siblings, they also, do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a
Mm.
sister. She's a flutist, but she's only doing this for a hobby. She's a
Mm.
painter. She studies in Frankfurt. Yeah, she's in
Oh,
the
okay.
Städelschule in Frankfurt. Yes.
So, but you can tell me now from that perspective, from going to an art school, was it mostly
Mm-hmm.
music that was taught there?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yes. And
Mm.
at the music school, it was totally music. It was focused on music. You could choose whatever instrument you wanted. You had some ensemble practice, and you had also some theory lessons, so solfège, and some. You had to sing in the choir. Yeah, absolutely. Mhm.
And that from such a young age that you did that. What, 6 years
Mhm.
old then?
Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
Um,
Absolutely.
because I'm thinking if all schools could provide that there are art education, you know, that children alongside maths and science and languages, like you've done now. So you have that experience of doing the music alongside all these subjects. Did
Mhm.
you also do some dancing or some other forms of art, or was it just music?
No, it was just music. I mean, the conservatory in Mulhouse, it was just about music. It was there was also some dancing classes, but um, it was really separated from school. So I would go to school in the morning, and then in the afternoon or in the evening, I would have my lessons at the music school.
Mm.
So of course, it's time consuming, and it is how do you say, it's yeah, it's a hobby. So it's like doing sport. It's like going to football classes, or I don't know, football trainings, or yeah. Mhm.
Mm. But what do you think about that? Uh, that art uh, um, is educated part of the education in schools, because nowadays, when artists say that they don't feel valued, we think of
Mhm.
society, why society doesn't value their art. And could it
Mhm.
be that when we educate children in art, that they don't necessarily become musicians or um, you know, dancers or artists, but that they have that knowledge and that they have that background and that they have that brain development.
Mhm.
And that would then ensure that we have not 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 just because of the audiences that we will have then, but that there will be a different approach to art.
Mhm. I totally agree with this. I think there is, I don't know how it is in Germany or in Austria, or, but I know for France, for sure, we've gone backwards with this. So there are less possibilities for kids and, you know, or children from an older age to do music or to get in touch with art at school. It's been more and more cleavage, so it's being separated basically for other purposes. I don't know why. It has to do also maybe with the political reforms that the government has been doing in France, where they've been trying to centralize the work over and condense work over, I don't know, hours in the week with also Wednesday, and giving less space for art in school, basically, so that the kids would be earlier at home. But then kids, they or parents, it's a combination maybe of many elements, but they're not, of course, they're not introduced to that at school enough, and it's not let's say it's not supported, I would say it that
Mm.
way. And the same way as we can see right now with the pandemic, how much we are not so much supported, same effect as in school. It seems like culture is a little bit, yeah, Kultur, ja, alles klar, aber es ist nicht das Wichtigste gerade. It's not the most
Mm.
important, and it's not the most relevant for society nowadays. So there's been changes there for sure. And
Mm.
even though orchestras tend to will to go more into education projects, and there is a problem, a fundamental problem at school, definitely. And also the way music has been taught to us. I mean, I can speak a little bit about this in college. um, it was a very basic sense of music. It was not really music. We would also go through pop. Of course, it's music, but pop, jazz, rock, but like the fundamentals of music history, also how it went through Renaissance, just even before this, and then Baroque and the whole development. We didn't really do this, and I was quite surprised because rock music or pop music or even, I don't know, reggae or R&B or whatever you want, they still have fundaments of all what's been treated in the past. And yeah, it's a combination of many points, and I can only speak for France, so I don't know for the other countries.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is what I'm thinking, and as like you say, the history of it, of music, or the history of dance, and that would also bring this appreciation, or this. I think when I think you can really only appreciate when you have the knowledge of something, and I
Mm-hmm.
think especially classical music, if somebody is not educated, and I say again, it's not that you want to make musicians of children, but that
Mm-hmm.
you give them that opportunity to explore and to also to express themselves, because I think um, it's not only the fact that you become a musician. I mean, that would be the same as with maths. Not everybody becomes a mathematician,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but yet you have that opportunity to do maths. And I think in art, it's a very important part of really expressing. And I even see that in this time as well, that artists, when they don't, and I'm going to ask you now what you did, because I find that artists, when they don't um, practice their art, or when they don't play the instruments, that they do a hobby that is also creative, and that's also actually a way of expressing themselves. And that's very interesting for me, that the artist brain works like this, and that they create, always creating, and always a way of expressing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so just on this subject, what did you do in lockdown except for practicing? Or, if you didn't practice, or just a hobby or something that you said that you didn't have time for otherwise?
Well, I love sports. I must say, I'm a big fan of. I do lots of sports, so I did everything I could to just go outside and do my. I love to run, so I did lots of marathons, or to be on the bike, or this was point number one. That was very important for me. So to enjoy as much as possible the activities I could not do. Secondly, as an oboe player, of course, we need to do our reeds. So this is also very creative. So and I'm quite a freak with this because I like to have my machines and to have all my measurements. So I like to make lots of experiences on this. So I must say I was very active from that point of view too. Um, I didn't do some painting or some pottery or things like this, but I read lots of books, for example, because I love that. And sometimes you just have to pick them out of the shelf. Those you didn't have time yet to to go
Mm.
through. And I like to go through classics again, Maupassant, Bellamy, or I don't know, L'Arrache-Cœur, or Boris Vian. Some books you read when you're younger, but you like to rediscover again
Yeah, yeah.
this. And I like to arrange a little bit some music for my students. So I like to arrange some Bach chorales so we can do some intonation exercises. I did many things like this. And yeah, it occupies your time quite a lot already. But I think the next step for me would be to try and do some painting, because I would love to do this. I've always
Mm.
wished to do some painting, and if there's another lockdown, I think I'm going to start that. Just see what
Oh,
happens.
okay.
Just-
Did you do some cooking as well, or do you do that
Oh yeah,
anyway?
sorry. Oh yeah, that was that. Yes, I did lots of cooking, everyday cooking. So it was a great opportunity to improve your skills and to try things. And yes, cooking of course. And in America especially, I did lots of cooking. Yeah. Mm.
Oh, okay. I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that this lockdown has forced everybody to be a bit more conscious about their bodies and their eating habits and their health. And so in a way, I think that was also a good thing. Do you
Yeah.
find also that and also amongst your students, but also amongst other musicians, that musicians started doing, coming together more, that there were more collaborations and more support for each other than in the past?
Yes, for sure. There is a greater understanding for this. This is clear, and there is also a greater respect for each other. That's for sure. So this is very positive. You can see that it's so difficult for everybody. So yeah, there's great motivation there to try and bring everybody together and to support each other. Especially, you could see it in America, for example. The colleagues who have the chance to play, like Philadelphia, those supporting the Metropolitan Opera musicians who have problems right now, who cannot perform, and also have financial difficulties. So yes, there has been yes, some very, very positive action and support from each other, especially in the music world. I'm sure in the art world too, but
Mm.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's very positive. Mm.
And what is your feeling about online streaming and online concerts?
Yes, it's a very good question. It's a, it's an alternative. It's a way to connect to the world, and it's a way to reach people who want to access something they cannot at one part of the planet. So it's positive, but on the other hand, of course, it will never replace a live concert, or it would never replace a live exhibition. If you want to see the Barnes collection in Philadelphia, which is amazing with all these impressionistes with Renoir, I mean, of course, you can have a check on the internet and see it, but it's not the same as if you really just experience the painting and see it and see how it just speaks to you. So it's yeah, alternatives, but they're not the real thing, I suppose. And this is why it's also it's a big question. It's a big problematic. How do we solve this now in this COVID time to not overdo on the net so that people can still get eager to come back to concert halls and to exhibitions when it comes back to a certain normality? I think I don't know if there's a fear there. I don't know what you think about this, but I hope that people will still come, that they will
Mm.
just not stay at home and watch at their computer and see the concerts on
Yeah,
stream or something. Mm.
I have this feeling that because there are now more online presence of artists, that we see, for example, more things that is sort of intriguing, and that we get to know artists. So I've noticed many more artists online, you know, since before, because now it's almost as if you have this more contact, you know, like when you see them at home playing or practicing or doing little concerts at home. And for me, it intrigues me because I would think now I know more, you know, now I would now notice more if somebody performs, or if I see on a notice board, or if I see an advertisement. So I would think now I'm more aware, and also like recordings. So you would be more aware to buy a CD, for example, or download music from a specific artist because you are aware of what they're doing. But I also understand what you're saying, that it could be that people are getting lazy, you know, that they expect it to come. But in a way, when this is all over, that there won't be as many online things, so people will have to then go out and look for it, you know. So this is
I hope
almost
so.
like, yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Um, but I think, yeah, how do you what do you tell your students? Would you for example say to them, listen, get an online presence for yourself, especially the ones that now are supposed to go out and audition, because how would people get to know about them?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, the online presence is um, it could be dangerous. Let's put it that way, because you are immediately exposed to the entire world, and you put your entire entity, yourself on you know on the market so freely, and is that really the greatest value you want to give to yourself? I mean, of course, at time to time to put some videos online. I know it's time of the, you know, it's this time of the digitalization, and I can understand it's important to be there, but if it's only this, then there's, for me, there's no credit in. I mean, you have to use you have to use it
Yeah,
as a tool, or you know, but it's not the real essence of it. You know, the artistry doesn't go through digital now. That's
yeah.
not the answer. So it's a great problematic because, for example, the Philadelphia Orchestra invested lots of money on a new digital platform so that people could follow us during the COVID time. And now the managements are thinking of, are we going to keep this
Oh, I
platform,
see.
or are we? You see, so this is it's a bit like the Berlin Phil thing. I mean, and it's working very well. I think that they found the right balance, so they can still they fill in the concert hall in Berlin in the Philharmonie, and it's the Abonnenten come, and that's great. They still have this option to follow the concerts online, which is fantastic. So Berlin Phil is really managing both in a way that is, I think, it's quite a it's a premiere to be able to do this, and I think that I hope Philadelphia will follow the same path, because going more to digital, letting go the concept, that's not so much the. I don't think that's the real alternative. Now, for the students, I think they should learn from this. So, what's always important is that you have to bring them on a pedagogical level. So you have to, what is the sense of making a video? So the video is first of all a tool to be able to control yourself. So through this, you are your own mirror. So you are your own professor. And actually, this is great, because that's the issue of teaching, is to be able to give them the tools so that later they can sustain themselves, right? That's so the video thing is great. I think I like it much more than reality lessons, meaning that on Zoom, I give a lesson. I'm not so much keen on this. I'm more
Mm.
keen on record yourself, try and find a good material so you can get a good sound acoustic you can really put through your artistry. You send me the video, I can correct it, and then we could talk about it, and like we can show examples. But to play on Zoom for me doesn't make any sense. I
Mm.
can't feel the artistry of someone through this. So I don't really encourage them to post on Instagram a video or two. if it's for a commercial issue, for example, or if it's for a trailer issue for a CD or something like this, that's fine, that's okay. But if it's just to put a video on, I'm not so sure I would encourage this, very frankly. But yeah. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, no, it makes sense. And like you say, this Zoom, when they play over Zoom, it's only when they watch it back that they would really um, understand what they were doing. Yeah,
They have to learn from it. I find it
yeah,
too easy to sit behind the screen and to wait from our side, the professors, to give us some tools or
yeah,
some ideas. I prefer, no, do a recording, send me the recording, I'll listen to it, and then take the score, and then let's analyze this together. This is a much more, it's a more reflected work. So suddenly you need self-reflection, and you can ask questions, you can discuss, you can really open up some new fields. If you're there and you're listening to someone and you are focusing on all the time on some different elements, while the recording allows you to reset many times and to listen to many times and to go much more in detail and to take care of more you know smaller things, which are, in my opinion, much more interesting. So
Do you think now that you're talking about the students having this time and that they yeah, also questioning what's happening next and so on, but maybe that this could be a good time for them to develop more artistry because they have more time and they have more time to see what they are able to do and experiment with their instruments, that instead of thinking, oh, this is a year wasted, but that there will come something different from this artist that there wouldn't have been.
I totally agree with you, and I hope they're doing this. I'm not there every day with them, so I cannot. I don't know what they're doing,
Okay.
but I hope they're
But
not
from,
going on Netflix. But I hope they're not going on Amazon Prime or Netflix and checking all the series possible, and they're doing something else, something creative, as you said, something where you
yeah.
really have to, you have to put your mind down and you have to just
Mm,
do something out of it. I just hope they're not sitting there and waiting until it's going through.
mm,
But of course, this is difficult to. Nobody
mm,
knows. Yeah, but I
yeah.
hope so.
Yeah.
Mm.
So tell me, what is your wish for when this is all over?
Well, first of all, I wish that we take much more care of each other, also internationally, so that how can I say, we have to reinvent ourselves. This cannot continue like this. We are just, as we see, we are all dependent from each other. I mean, this whole world is dependent, and it seems like it's so, and still we are depending from each other, is so unequal. I mean, it's just the systems are not really working. I mean, the sanitary, health systems are. This is another subject, but for us as humans, we need to communicate more. We need to participate more. We have to be proactive, not just reactive. It's all the time just reaction and consuming, but we need to be proactive and take our destiny in our hands much more, and be much more concerned about everything. But very easy things, just with the trash, for example, or maybe what you consume in the supermarket. And this, of course, you need to just step back a little bit from what the world is proposing to you, and like think about it, like, really, do I need all of this, or do I don't need it? When you go to the supermarket now, you can get some papaya, some agaves, you can get some smoothie with, I don't know, cactus flavor. But do you really need all of this? Or we have to come back a little bit to our essentials. And maybe this is also some form in art that is very interesting to pursue, I think, because it has become really sophisticated lately, also in the art. And to come back to true basics and to truth, I would say, in music essence, that's what I hope we will be able to reach again. And that we have to realize how much it's important to be together, to be able to do music. You cannot, or even to share art, there's no way, we cannot do this alone. And I think that everybody realizes this, and this is positive. Mm.
Mm. Do you think audiences or new audiences will come to the theater, or the audiences who used to go would be hungry to go to see
I think
live
so.
performances?
I have good. I have a good. I have a good feeling that they would come back and really enjoy it because I think people really, even if they were not keen so much on, but they need to get out and experience it. I think it's so important just to, you know, experience art for itself and going to a concert hall is it's such a different thing than just staying at home and seeing the concert on TV. This experience, people and yeah, this is it's how do you say it's nutritive. Our
Yeah.
souls need it, and I think people's souls need it. And what I'm hoping is about the new generation, the ones that are going to continue and are going to be with us after. I hope that they will be very interested and keen on coming and supporting the art. And this is another question, but I'm sure that the ones that have been there will come back. I think so.
Yeah. But Philip, thank you so much for your time and your insight.
Yeah, thank you, Petra. It was nice meeting you.
And
It's
thank
great.
you for talking to me
Very
and
interesting.
telling me all these things. And I really hope your wish come true. And I like the fact that your wish is also not just focused on the arts and music, but that it's about society and about life. Because I think, yes, really, we are all thinking about that and thinking how we can live. I understand what you say, that we go back to basics and see what is valuable and see what it's really all about.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you very much, Petra.
Thank you so much, Philip. Have a lovely evening.
Yes, you too. All the best. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.